So that brings me to our midterm, or our mid-year fiscal accountability investment report. So, Vice President Agazzi, I think you have a copy at your place then?
Good evening, everyone. As you all know, we do this quarterly. We take a look at our budget, so we have 6 months of information that we can talk about tonight. At this point of the year, out of our $101.2 million budget, we would have expected $60.3 million in revenue and have received $57.5, and I'll talk a little bit about in detail on the next slide about why that is. Expenditures were right at where we expect to be, just a tiny bit over, a little over $40 million. On the revenue side, you can see one of our bigger variances is with tuition and fees, and that's the reflection of the enrollment decline. It isn't just the enrollment decline, though. We have had students paying later, so after January 1st, and those numbers aren't figured in there. As well, while Governor Runner has released our building contracts, he's not released all of our credit hour grant payments. So we are $2 million behind to date in our payments from the state. We're a little bit ahead on property taxes. We're right where we should be on replacement taxes. So we're that shows how we're off on revenue by $2.9 million.
So on state apportionment, what month are we basically back?
We should have received 6 by now, and we should receive 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're short 2.
Actually, we would have received 7.
Short 3. So are they slowing down, or is there a pattern?
This year was a little faster.
A little faster.
Before the election.
Okay. And then the election, and we're slowing down. Is that what it is?
3 months behind, but it's a little faster, right? Or 3 payments behind.
So what are they, about $1 million a month? Is that what we normally receive?
It's about $690,000 a month.
So by the end of the year, though, you get all the payments? Has that been the
We
practice?
have, in the last 2 years, we've been able to record all of the payments in the final fiscal year. They come in by the auditors like to have it approved anyway, but we come by the standard within 60 days of the end of the fiscal year. And they do that. It's a lot of information on salaries, but just in case you wanted any detail, we're doing fine in all of the categories on the expenditure side. We're right on budget. The auxiliary fund is not quite in the shape that we would like at this point. I would principally point to, we'll have more detail later in the year, but just looking at preliminary numbers, I receive a monthly profit and loss statement for each of my areas, and I know, for example, the bookstore is doing significantly poorer results as we've seen trending over the years. People have asked me why, and I say one word: it's Amazon. We are
Now Amazon's going to start charging tax in Illinois.
Yeah, right.
I wonder what that will
Maybe
do.
that'll help, but we charge tax too. We're down of unique customers. We're down year over year by 4,000. So it's definitely foot traffic of people coming in the door and moving that online. Some of the other areas are doing a little bit better, but that's where we're seeing the biggest variance in auxiliary funds.
Well, when we're having those efforts to save students on textbooks, and we're going to rentals and we're going to more affordable options, isn't that reflecting in the numbers too?
We've not seen a large number. In fact, where some of our faculty have moved to open education resources, they have requested, and they've sold quite well, hard copies to be printed in our print shop, which we make a much smaller margin on that. It's negligible now. I do expect that between that and online sales, I expect to dramatically impact within 2 years whether our bookstore can even be, any bookstore can be profitable.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I do. Where are we and how is it going with the drop policy, the new drop policy? How is that going to be implemented, I guess, from your folks, from you folks? And then I'd like to hear if there's any student feedback as well.
From the
Anybody answer that, or-
academic standpoint, it is helping us make better decisions about go, no-go classes, just because we have a better sense of what the enrollment will be. So from an academic standpoint, I think that it's helping with our planning and making decisions.
I heard from a student just this past week, who I don't know what course it was she was taking, but there were only 6 or 7 people signed up, and so her course wasn't going to go.
And we're very careful about the types of decisions we make when it comes to classes like that. Obviously, we can't have classes with 2 or 3 students. If it's a new program, one of the things we look at is how can we build those enrollments. So we may let a class run with 10 or 8. But when it starts falling below that, we just can't. Typically, we look at, we want to see classes in 15, 16, 20.
Actually, this has been a big discussion topic that's been brought to me by my fellow students, especially with the dance program. They are being drastically cut in classes, and a majority of that is students are signing up for the prerequisites they'll need to transfer before they're signing up for dance classes, and before the dance classes can be enrolled in, they're being cut. So the students that do want to sign up for a dance class, they sign up for their prerequisites, they get in, then they find out they can take another class, they go to take a dance class, and the dance classes have already been cut. So that's what I've been hearing from the dance department. And then a lot of students are they're kind of for and against the drop and the payment plan. They like the payment plan because it gives them the opportunity to pay in increments instead of having to pay all at once. They do not like the drop policy because when you set up the payment plan, they do have a fee that they have to pay. They don't like that, but that's out of our control because from what I understand, that's with the payment, can you explain to me, is it the program that does the payment plan that charges that? It's not the school?
Yeah, that's correct. The third-party provider, that's the charge they have per semester for a plan. The other way to look at it too, the college could pay it, but if the college paid it, we would have to raise tuition to pay for the fee. It has to be paid somewhere.
It has to be paid either way, and I understand that. I'm just making sure that I'm not telling the students something that's wrong, because I do have to explain to them it is a third party charging a fee, not CLC. So.
Well, and it would be similar if they were buying anything over a period of time on a payment plan. There would be interest charges or some kind of extra charge. So, and when you're going through another party.
Yeah.
Of course, they're 18 years old, so they don't.
Pardon?
Yeah, so they're probably on average a little younger than the person who experienced finance charges. So maybe this is their first experience.
Sure.
For these types of fees. First of many, I'm afraid.
So what about the debt loss?
On the financial side, we have reduced our outstanding balance of $4.6 million by $600,000. And we are referring on average $60,000 less to collections every semester.
And that's a positive thing for those, the students who would have been involved in collection, not just us.
Can I ask a question about the comment that Annabelle made about registration and classes being dropped? Are classes dropped before? I mean, when would be the earliest that a class would say it won't run?
It really varies, I'll be honest. But when it's a week or two before the semester starts and you have 0 or 1, we start canceling them. And sometimes that can happen, 2 weeks before. Dr. Stomper's here, he does a very good job about managing his. You want to tell them kind of the process that you follow as it relates to that?
Sure. Basically, we start watching enrollments, well, for, let's say this spring, we start watching them in December. Obviously, the break, kind of interferes with that a little bit. But as soon as we come back from break, we start really looking at which classes are going to go, which classes aren't, and kind of have a graduated process in which we look at those classes. Let's say if a class has, January 5th, has 3 students in it. We can see that maybe it's had one student a week ago, 2 students now, 2 students 2 days ago, and then 3 students. It's growing, actually. Sometimes it's had 3 students since mid-November when we started registration. We'll cancel that class. Many of us track these things over multiple semesters. I have 12 years of spreadsheets that I can kind of tell that 8 o'clock class works in the winter, doesn't work in the winter, that sort of thing. It might be dicey and the like. And so we basically use sort of every couple of days to kind of go back and check to see where the enrollments are trending. We do pay attention to the courses that students need to graduate. The courses that are prerequisites, those are the ones that we will tend to run a little bit lower, knowing that they're gateway courses or they're the capstone courses. So we basically take, it's pretty much a day-by-day process. We talk with the department chairs on a very regular basis to see, are they seeing more students? Are they saying they're registering? We also call all of the, we actually for our career programs, we went in early January and called all the students that had taken classes in the fall but had not yet registered in the spring. And we got a lot of, I'm going to do it tomorrow, not a lot of follow through on that, but we were able to reach out to that. But the idea is that every few days we sit there and we make these cut downs up until the very last. Sometimes we will call students and say, we're not sure, call your friends, we need a few more students. Sometimes we'll warn them that we might have to cancel that class. When we do cancel a class, we oftentimes give them, when we do call, we call them, because there's only about a week or 2 left. We will call them and we will say, here are some options for you. You might want to get in there for that.
And then one of the other things, Gene, we want to make sure we also give students time to register if we do drop a class. So if we wait too long, when you have 2 or 3, just creates a problem of getting that classes.
It's always a tough issue.
So, and so it's like, once the semester starts, you're still going to be dropping classes at that point, or is it, it's all ahead of time?
All ahead of time.
So there's time for them to register.
And then we also added late start courses when we started looking at how we could do that for students who may, for whatever reason, there are 1 or 2 classes, they can get into a late start, which may be a 12-week course, in some cases, an 8-week course.
So they may be able to use it, depending on their schedule,
Yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
the cuts. It's not an absolute.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in summary, I'm hearing good things on the deadline. I certainly agree with you on timing. That helps. But I'm still a little fuzzy on the student side here and how that's going with the students. So can we hear more on how that will, or whatever corrections we're making on the student side as far as the process goes? Yes.
Well,
I'm
boy, if you're
looking
gonna-
Looking for Karen to maybe step up on that one. Not necessarily tonight, but just, I'm still curious on the process itself. The numbers are good, financials are good, it's important, planning's important, but I'm a little fuzzy on that side, on the students.
I'll just be honest, I don't know what else to provide on that. We can certainly go through here, here are the drop dates. Here's how we're communicating the drop dates.
What are you hearing from the students, I guess?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you got dropped, you're not crazy about the drop process.
And so the re-enrollment process, how is that process?
We work very hard to make that process as easy as possible.
And can you provide some more information?
We can. We have to.
It's all about the process that I'm concerned.
We're focused on getting the students completed. You kind of heard Dr. Stomper talk a little bit about that cut process and how we take that into account. Dr. Haney's going to talk to you a little bit about the data, but we're